Calxiyn and Hunter here. If you guys enjoyed this video, remember that you guys should subscribe, become patrons over on Patreon to support the channel. Remember to follow us on social media, join our Discord server to talk about RWBY. So, today we are reading the first issue of the RWBY like DC manga thing.
Yes. The comic.
Okay, and so we paid for it to make that perfectly clear. Okay, it is only $1. You guys should go buy it, but basically what we're gonna do is this is gonna be very similar to our RWBY analysis and discussions. This is kind of good because they're all still images already, you know, instead of us taking screenshots like we would for an episode discussion. So basically, you know, we're gonna go through it, sort of talk about it, you know, analyze, I guess, the panels and talk about the art. It's just gonna be, we're just gonna have a lot of fun right now, I think. And so I hope that you guys enjoy. So this is the front cover, and then this is, I guess, the sort of like, I guess like if this was like a book, this would be the page with all the chapters outlined on it, but because it's one issue, it's just sort of, you know, putting like the writer and the artist and the color person, and then like all the other stuff. So this says the Prelude. So let's go in with the assumption, okay, that this is going to be for people, but it says Prelude right there. Yeah, and so let's just go with the assumption that this is going to be for people that don't already know the RWBY story. I think that that's fair, right? Because given that this is a prelude, I feel like it's almost going to be like the prologue of After the Fall, where like they introduce like, this is aura, this is dust, this is semblance, like sort of doing that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So let's just keep an open mind. I would suggest, like, if this bothers you, whatever happened, like we haven't even read it yet, so we really don't know. But like if you find that this like annoys you, just skip this one and read the second one. I think that that's fair, because then the second one is actually where like shit's about to go down. You know what I mean? Anyway. And so you guys can sort of see how it reads on your computer, and this sort of design I think is really cool. And so then, which I'm like, then what?
What's the cover now?
I don't know. And so RWBY says, I love stories. That's what everyone thought I'd be when I was a little kid. Ruby Rose, you were born to be a storyteller. And I think that's really interesting for, I guess, RWBY related stuff that we'll talk about another day. But you see that there's an ink well sort of here. She has a bunch of books, and so it's sort of like, did she write, and maybe she wrote some of her own stories as a little kid. Maybe RWBY is writing some fairy tale fan fiction. You know what I mean? Then if you see, there's all these little bunnies on the wall, and so I feel like this lamp somehow is making these little images, which I think is really cute.
Also made deeply uncomfortable by whatever that is.
Yeah, that's true. What is that supposed to be, actually? Like, I don't know, but then there's a little snow globe and some more books, and she has like rose pictures everywhere, which is kind of
on the nose.
Yeah, I guess so. I also like that she has a little stuffed rabbit. I just think that's cute because, you know, Jean has these pajamas, and they're the pumpkin Pete's, and they're sort of the rabbit pajamas, so I wonder if it's just sort of like a thing that all these little kids love. This almost like, I don't know, a Tony the Tiger type situation, or like some other cereal mascot. Anyway, that's not important. But I think little RWBY, she just looks so cute reading by Dust Lamp, I guess, and like reading her little book and all that, and look at a little window in the room. Like, it just looks so magical. Like RWBY's reading some magical fairy tales. I like that. I also like there seems to be a mirror or something over here, and it's very fairy tale-ish. But anyway, we can keep going. Ah, did you guys see that? Like, I just love that. I've never read a comic online before, so to have it like move around like this, I just love the movement of it. I'm sorry. So she says, I love the songs, the fights, the battles, the romances. Then there came a day when I realized I didn't have to just tell the stories, and so now you can see like sort of the detail in her eyes. I really like this art style. Still confused about what's going on here, but I guess it's like a nightlight that you would fill with dust that has these bunny things on it so you don't get scared, but I'm like, those bunny things are kind of creepy. Don't know how I feel about that. I could live my own. I really like that. And so it says later, so I guess that was back then, and now this is later in her life. Look at her! I really love the art style that they're using here.
Her face looks a little odd, but it's...
I think that's just the style, right? It's a DC comic sort of
It's
style,
weird to take like an anime character and sort of...
Yeah, I really like it. Like, I think that it's different, and I really enjoy seeing it just because, you know, I think like a lot of people have like interesting art styles like in the RWBY community, but at the same time it's very like anime, obviously, right? And so this is just like totally different from things that we've seen, like compared to like say like Majojo or like Dishwasher. You know, if you guys are like RWBY fans and know those sort of artists, like this is just sort of completely different. And I like that the Grimm look like, can I say this? They look like Wolverine. Almost like just how like weirdly muscular they are with their claws going like this. I don't know, but isn't it kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird, isn't it? They all look sort of like wolfmen, but I also kind of like it, like, I don't know, I'm just pointing it out.
People.
And so now you have, this is sort of a World of Remnant style thing, and I really like that, even though World of Remnants are like irrelevant. So do you want to read this one? Because
our world has been threatened for as long as anyone can remember by these creatures, monsters called Grimm.
And I like how Grimm is like I know that's just a comic book thing. Oh yeah, so I took a pop literature class this semester for school, I guess online, and I didn't like pay attention to anything at all. I don't know how I got an A in it, to be honest. But we had to read Watchmen and analyze the pages. No. But I looked at some of the pages to analyze just so I could get my mark and whatever. And so, I don't know, it just, to now see a RWBY comic and sort of that half-assed sort of knowledge that I have from that course, I don't know. Anyway.
No one knows where they came from, but the people who fought them, who fight to save the whole world of Remnant, are called huntsmen.
I like how they're bolding everything that's important too. Like, it's not just an emphasis on a world, it's like, the world is Remnant. They are called huntsmen. Like, it's just a sort of, you know what I mean? Anyway.
Atlas, Vale, Vacuole, and Minstrel. Every kingdom in Remnant has their own way of dealing with the Grimm, but only the kingdom of Vale has Beacon. I mean, they kind of have all the
They all have the schools. I like the clouds, like, they just look very, you know what this reminds me of in a strange way? Like Hercules. Just, anyway.
Never seen Hercules.
Hunter's never seen Hercules, guys. I do like how they designed Beacon, too. The legendary academy where my mother and father went to become a huntsman.
I guess this has been RWBY speaking the whole time.
Yeah, it has. I just wanted you to read because this is like, I don't know, this could be narrator Hunter, so it's fine. I really just like this because it is a callback to the World of Remnant, and RWBY fans
I like
sort
the
of
blue
know that.
and red
Contrast to each other.
There,
I like that. And red and blue are complementary colors. So.
And also Rooster Teeth reference.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right.
Oh, what?
And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to help people, hunt monsters, and fight alongside my family. So I've seen this panel, and some people had questionable, or I guess some people complained.
Okay.
Because Ruby's head is so big, but her arms are so small. But the thing is, this is her as a child, so to me it makes sense. But when people were screen capping this, I was like, is that supposed to be RWBY as an adult? Because that's a little weird. But no, like, they're children, and so to me it's sort of,
I'm more thrown
it
off
really
by
makes sense. We have to talk about Summer in a minute.
Summer's
But I like
appearance.
Yang's appearance, how she has the ponytails, and she's missing a tooth, and she's sort of scraped up. You know what I mean? And these are like their clothes, like when they were kids. They're sort of like, I don't know, grew up and had their own sort of, you know what I'm saying? And then you see Tai Yang, and like, look at Tai Yang and his like, I don't know, he just has this like thing about him. It's just weird.
Flex at the camera. And
no, it's just like, do you see how he's like, how he's looking with his little eyebrows and like his little like smirk on his face?
Summer though?
Well, I want to go in order. I'm
Okay.
just going. RWBY, I think that's Summer
freckle,
Rose's
I've
pin.
never noticed that freckle before, or
what-
that mole.
Where? Oh, on her.
Or is that her
I think
lip?
that's just her mouth.
Okay, that's meant to be.
But yeah, so that's Summer Rose's pin, and obviously we know it moves sort of down and around, like when she has the outfit.
It migrates.
So this is Summer, and Summer is like our goth queen.
Yeah.
Isn't she? Because like she's wearing this like black, like all black dress. Oh boy, sorry, I didn't mean to. All black dress with this sort of like corset and all that stuff, but it's very sort of simple.
But that for a second I thought
contrasting.
that bit on there
You're
was
shaking
her
the computer.
For a second I thought that was her skin, so I'm like, wait.
No, I think it's just a.
Yes, it's the color.
Yeah, and so it's sort of weird because you always sort of think of Summer. I guess people think of Summer as like white because she has the white cape, and we've never really seen her clothes. But in the flashback, isn't she wearing red when she sees RWBY, or is she wearing this outfit? I don't recall either, but this is like really dark compared to like what we saw her wearing in the flashback, so that's sort of interesting. I mean, it's just sort of like, because RWBY is so much about color, and so you see Tai Yang and you think yellow, and then you see Crow and Raven and you're like, and then you see Summer and you see white, you know what I mean? I think Raven's supposed to be red and Crow is supposed to be black, so to see that Summer is sort of our goth princess of the hour. Like, I just really like that. I really like her dress, and like, look at the puffy sleeves, like it just, I don't know, I just really like it. We
You're
stand.
gonna try to cosplay this, aren't you? Well!
But
you love her so much, and suddenly she's in the ground.
But some things don't always go the way you dream. That's so sad.
I love how this is basically going like a quick route through her past.
I guess. And so, what's interesting here is that you have the roses, right? You have sunflowers, but then there's this other sort of flower, and I don't know what it is. So if somebody wants to tell us what that is, I think that would be sort of interesting. Just because, like, even like in sort of like the t-shirt line and stuff. Like Weiss has a flower, Blake has a belladonna, Yang has, I'm pretty sure the sunflowers, like all of that stuff. Like I have the RWBY hat with all the designs, so it'd be nice, like, because who left these? Because theoretically, right, RWBY left the roses, Yang left the sunflowers, and then there are those ones, and so it's sort of like, you know what I mean? It could be pointing to another character, basically. Maybe it's not that deep, I don't know. And some dreams really do come true. I like that, though. I like that, like, I mean, obviously not everything went the way she wanted, but some things did. And so I think that this is Signal, maybe, and not Beacon. Maybe it is Beacon. I don't know.
It looks like Beacon. Yeah, no, it looks like Beacon's outfits. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I like the water and sort of all that stuff in the trees.
Come on, miss. I got a special permission to enter Beacon Academy 2 years early.
Okay, so
by order of Professor Ospen, you're gonna be late for class.
Alright, so you do Yang and I'll do
Okay, sure.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I was so glad I had my sister there. I never knew what friends I had until Beacon. Is that Penny? Is she in the uniform? Because that's really cute and it's gonna make me really sad. And obviously you have Nora, Red, Jean.
Nora's got a long neck. It's very interesting to see these anime characters in...
Yeah, I really like Pyrrha's face. Like, I don't know, she just reminds me of a Disney character for some reason. Like, Jean and Ren are just themselves, I guess, I don't know.
Ooh,
whoa, I like this one, okay. So, wait, so what happened? Until Beacon, and then there's just this middle thing?
I guess this could be another, unless it zooms out and you get more context for it.
Maybe, so yeah, see how they all have the flowers? So I'm sort of like, So obviously Yang with the sunflowers, Blake with the belladonnas, I guess, and then Weiss. And so you see Yang just, you know, being herself. This looks like White Fang people because...
Although in the front there, that almost looks like Adam?
No, he's a little furry to be Adam, I think.
It's just that
but I think these are just supposed to be White Fang people. But yeah, you're right. Because this is when they were all separated. Right, and that's what this comic, we should have probably talked about at the beginning. This comic is the events that we didn't get to see in between Volume 4 and everyone reuniting.
Really?
This is in the time skip.
Oh, wow, I thought
so this is new canon, right? And so there are some continuity errors I've heard, but like this was approved by Miles and Carey, so they probably just let them take some creative liberties to make it flow a little better. But this is supposed to be... like stuff that happened in between the time skip that we didn't get to see. And so that's also why Weiss having all the Schnee Dust Company things down there, like that really makes sense.
In that corner?
A cat?
A cat.
Yeah, you're right. There is a cat. There's like a little wolf or something down there.
Know.
I don't know. What is that supposed to symbolize? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, you're right. In the Weiss panel, there's some sort of like animal. Okay. So, I guess I'll read this. My sister is Yang Zhaolong. It's completely understandable if you have a crush on her. You haven't heard her snore yet. She's a baller, brawler, butt-kick scholar. My sister from a different mister, except not a mister because we actually have different moms with the same dad.
That's a great line. I've seen this panel before.
I saw that too yesterday. This is Blake Belladonna. You know that skittish, skinny alley cat you keep trying to feed, but you're almost pretty sure that the cat is smart and streetwise enough to get its own milk, but it's just kind of indulging you because it knows it would really, really mean a lot to you to be able to pet a cat this stylish and cool. That's Blake.
Had a little trouble
there. Well, no, it's a run-on sentence, but there's no period there.
Yeah, that is a aren't they, comma?
Anyway, so yeah, that's Blake. I really like how Blake looks.
Yeah.
I just really like the curl and definition in her hair. I think her bow's like pretty big, but her ears should also be pretty big, so it kind of just makes sense.
The facial features are all very like curvy, and I dig it. It's really interesting.
And then, okay, yeah, so there's just some random wolf down there, and I'm like, what? Okay, and you know that fluffy, stub-nosed, pampered white cat that sleeps in a huge, beautiful, frilly bed and has a bunch of servants to bring it pate and chicken livers and fresh fish and is 100% spoiled and coddled and baby and useless? Okay, that's not remotely Weiss because White Snee, she works ridiculously hard. You should see her grades! Exclamation point. See, there's a period. Thanks, guys.
There were okay, that's a period there.
They keep having to keep coming up with like platinum and palladium and osmium metals because gold doesn't even cut it anymore. So here's the thing. That's a little weird, isn't it? That there's still gold and silver and platinum and
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Well, what do you think things were made out of?
Dust, right? I mean, I guess it's fine for metal. We were having not an argument, but somebody on Twitter was like, so what does the gas station that Yang goes to like gives her? Because it doesn't give her gas, right? Because that would be a little weird to have like a gas industry in RWBY where everything is run on dust, or I guess an oil industry, I should say. And I was like, liquid dust. That should be the answer. I hope. But yeah, I don't know why, unless that cat is supposed to be the physical representation of Weiss that like they're talking about, I'm like, I don't know why that's there. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know.
It's a little odd. Maybe, I don't know, she'll have a giant like cat friend.
I like that they gave us the legs for Weiss, because that's all anyone talked about in Volume 4 was Weiss's legs.
Why?
Because like you could just see them, you know what I mean? Like it was just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Hunter, if you didn't see it, I can't explain it to you.
Alright.
But you guys know what I mean, right? Like Weiss and her like long, elegant legs was like, people talked about that. That's all I'm trying to say, okay? We come from different places, different families, different continents, different kingdoms, but we all wanted this to be better, to be huntresses. And together, we're Team RWBY. I really like that. And everyone's personality sort of comes through. Like, you see RWBY's, I guess, like, Blake, obviously, Yang. Weiss not too much, because she's just smiling. But, you know.
I like how, I guess, their feet, like, because everyone
I also just like how
looks very similar.
They're sort of framed by the scythe, I guess, like this way. And I also just like, I really like their hair, okay? Because I feel like, I just wish, I don't know, like with anime characters, it's hard to get curly hair sometimes, you know what I mean? And so I know that Yang and Blake, they're not super curly, but they are in this art style, and that just makes me, like, obviously I have curly hair, so there's an evident sort of investment for that. But even Penny, like, Penny had really, like, curly hair in the frame where they showed her, and so it's just nice. It's just nice to see the hair have that kind of definition, whereas, you know, in especially the old RWBY style, they were just sort of Play-Doh, like on someone's head and sort of sculpted and not moving, right? But anyways. Uh-oh. Hello? Is this the end? Okay, so being halfway through and having our internet, like, weirdly die on us, like, that's a little strange. But anyway, now we get to see, like, their first, I guess, fights, because this is them in beacon outfits, right? Like before, and so you kind of get to see this, and I think that this is kind of cool, especially just like, I don't know, the design of everything, and so you sort of see what everyone can do as well. Like, you see Blake doing the shadow thing in the second one, you see Weiss using her glyphs, Yang is just like shooting a laser, like it's great. But yeah, you sort of see what everyone's doing in the panels. I really like that. You also see the maidens in the corner, and I'm like, what does that mean?
Because I'm like, sure, that looks like autumn, but like...
No, those are the old ones.
I guess
remember the girl with the hair and like Miles and Carrie had to be like, no, that winter maiden is not supposed to look like Salem, and now we sort of know why and everything. And so it's sort of like, people were worried because they think that that's like hinting to the RWBY girls becoming the maidens. But, I mean, I don't see a problem with that happening at the end. Like, after Salem's defeated, that Ozpin is like, alright, y'all have proven yourself, y'all are good, keep this safe, You know what I mean? If there are even maidens by the time we get there. But I don't think they'll actually sort of do that in the story. Like, I don't know. It's hard because it would make sense for them all to become the maidens, but at the same time, it's like RWBY already. I mean, I don't know, from a sort of stereotypical narrative perspective, like, yeah, like that's sort of something that
Like
happens, a trope almost, you know?
Seizing the sword?
Yeah, I guess. All the teams are named for colors, and almost all of us are, too. Art used to be outlawed, and I think it's kind of a reminder. Anyway, I think that's almost all of us are. I think that's interesting because we sort of had this theory that Jocks didn't have like a direct color name because he's just soulless and his parents hated like art and stuff. And so you'd sort of think, like even Maria, you know, we don't know how old she is, but like the war happened 80 years ago, and so anyone born before that wouldn't have a color name.
No.
Theoretically. Anyway, no matter how bleak, dark, and sightless the world becomes, we're still here. Life and beauty and color and stories are still here. We'll come back. We'll go on. And that's what Beacon Academy represents, in a way, how close all of Remnant came to the end and fought back that darkness. At Beacon, we learn about combat and dust, which is our biggest source of energy, and yeah, we learn about our powers. Sorry, was that not good enough? But yeah, you can see everybody using their powers here, which I think is really nice.
I feel like as time's gone on, they've kind of tried to distance themselves away from that lore of like everyone's named after colors.
Because now it's getting too hard.
Because now it's like, well, this is annoying, and people want to, I don't know, have different names.
Well, I think they still have a lot of color names to use. Like, I still think that they have. It's not like they've run out. You know what I mean?
I also like how they're drawing Blake's shadows.
Yeah, I really like that too. And I really like Weiss's glyph that's in the bottom there.
And Weiss has summoned this big...
I don't think Weiss has summoned that because this is back in Beacon. I think that's the monster.
Well, she had summoned
the Knight. That's volume 3 though.
Or no, even that monster earlier panels.
What do you mean?
And if you go back. There. Yeah.
Oh.
She's summoning a monster. Yeah.
Okay, well maybe it's just
that'll come up again because
I think it's just showing how the powers are used. Oh, you can read now.
For starters, every living thing has a soul. Your soul is what gives you your aura, and that aura lets you do something no other person can do. Something that makes you special out of all the people in the world, whether human or faunus or anything else besides.
Anything else besides? What is anything else besides?
I don't know. Jinn? Does Jinn count? No.
I don't know. Well, Jinn was made after.
This is true.
So maybe, I don't know. That's so weird.
That power is what we call semblance.
Well, we have this theory again, like about faunus mutating or having mutations and sort of stuff like that.
At this point, do I remember our theories?
No.
No, I don't. My semblance is an ice cream sundae of speed with a little cherry of teleportation on the top. Wow, Weiss can summon any grim she's slain.
Thanks.
I've never had her described as teleportation, because I guess it is kind of.
And Blake can make shadow clones of herself, all to distract her enemies so she can disappear. Yang can wallop.
Yeah.
Wallop, what does that mean?
Like wallop. Like
Okay.
in Cuphead, where they're like, Nan, wallop. Yang can wallop back with all the energy she's absorbed from a blow.
I'm just really enjoying
I love wallop. Wallop's a good word.
So, okay. Between aura semblances, dust weapons, and combat, it's a lot to remember, and recently I've been hearing some whispered rumors. Something about the myth of the 4 maidens and magic, but that's just a fairy tale, right? Everyone knows there's no such thing as magic.
So who's supposed to be Raven in there? Unless
What do you mean? They're not Hunter. I just told you.
I know.
They're the original
Oh,
ones.
I guess
Remember? That's the one from the story that had the things in her hair where they were all like in that thing with Ozpin and the girl with the little ring of flowers on her head. Yep. None of them are supposed to be Raven. Anyway.
But this is what we're all going to be. Huntresses, heroes of Beacon. Weiss, Blake, Yang, and me. Team RWBY. Boy, I hope something tragic didn't happen to all of you. Also, has any human ever actually been with their friends and let's lie down?
It's
without
kind
head
of
pointed
weird
at
to
each
talk
other?
about like whispered rumors, right?
Because it's like, yeah, they're real. We know they're real.
No, not like that, but it's sort of like like people are whispering, hey, did you hear about this maiden? But no, it makes sense because Amber, for example, sort of did that and no one was around, right? But if somebody was around and saw someone doing that stuff, it would sort of be like, that's a little weird. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's that weird. What I meant was like, people have been saying that that's a weird thing for them to say. I don't think it is because if you have seen Amber or Raven, like if Raven's in a tough bind and they like Thanos a village with lightning or something basically, you know what I mean? Like that's how rumors sort of start. And, you know, people, it's sort of like, it's a fairy tale and it makes sense because I feel like every sort of myth or like legend had been turned into a fairy tale or like a children's story eventually. And that's where the fairy tale class that I took, but actually paid attention to, comes in. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, yeah, it was a myth, and yeah, it was actually real, but that's just sort of what happens, like myths and legends, like, you know, think about like Greek myths and sort of stuff like that that have been turned sort of like fairy tale children's story. You know what I mean? Just sort
It goes
of
fairy tale, then hit Broadway musical, I believe. That's a Hades strike joke. The Battle of Beacon Academy.
Oh yeah!
Oh,
I like how they're all like, yeah, we're all
Everything's
together,
happy.
and now we're all sad.
But none
I
of it
really
turned
like
out
how the
that
cape
way.
is framing her in this sort of shot. I
Yeah,
really
she
just
looks-
like that.
Like the red seems like more
And it
vibrant.
kind of looks like a flower too. Like she
guess
looks
so.
like a tattered sort of
The-
rose petal
the red
on the
takes
ground.
a very different, I guess, meaning here than
Yeah.
it did in other places.
Oh, hello. Okay, so.
A splinter group called the White Fang.
Oh, sorry, I thought it
White
would zoom in.
Fang broke into Beacon. Grim were unleashed upon the school. I love this show.
I don't know if I like how Adam's face looks here. It looks a little weird.
I like Cinder.
I like Cinder too. I think Cinder looks really nice.
Oh no.
And some of my friends, they didn't make it. Okay, Ozpin, she doesn't know that, but Ozpin's okay. But yeah, Pyrrha and sort of
Look at
Penny.
how cute Penny looks. Look at how cute Pyrrha looks.
I really like Ruby's sort of face in this just shot because she looks, I don't know, she just looks so young and like innocent and like her crying is gonna make me cry. So that's just how I feel. I like how she considers Ozpin her friend though.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
is
a little weird.
They just need to, okay, the island patch. In the aftermath of all the days gone by, I came back to my dad's house.
So this is where people were complaining about continuity errors because Crowbot brought her back.
That's true.
But I don't think this part matters. Like, it's just to make it flow better. You know what I mean? And maybe, like, for all we know, Crow brought her home. She was able to stand for a while, and then she just fell down.
Maybe
You know what I'm saying?
he's right off to the side of the screen.
Yeah, and so it's sort of one of those things where, like, it reminds me of when I got my wisdom teeth out, and I remember getting up out of the dentist chair, but not being in the car, but arriving back home and being in the car with my grandpa being like, you're home now, right? So that's kind of happened to her, where she, you know, Crow put her down, she stumbled up, he was like, Ruby, and then it was like, oh yeah, well, oops, you know what I'm saying? She was like too tired. It does make it sound like she came back here by herself though, which I get some people are gonna have an issue with, but really it's for these shots because it's all supposed to represent where they went, so it's like, y'all gotta relax, okay? Miles and Carrie approved it, alright, don't worry.
Harbor of Vale.
Blake had a run for it.
Also, I presume like the boat was a little bigger than that dinghy.
Well, no, maybe she, you know,
Isn't it like that?
she took a boat somewhere else.
That costume is different. It's like,
What do you
wait,
mean?
did she have black tights?
Yeah, she had black
Okay.
tights before.
She did.
It was just there was some skin in between them, I think. Her
Right.
shorts are kind of inner tights in that
Yes.
shot. I think that's why. Meanwhile,
Weiss family dragged her home in the
the
helipad.
helipad. This looks like a very Cinderella-y sort
Yes.
of pumpkin carriage. So you see Weiss in there,
Is
and
that-
I'm pretty sure
That's
Willow's
Win-
in there.
No,
or-
that's Winter.
I don't think that's Winter.
I think that's, wait, no. Yeah, where is Weiss? Because
Weiss is that shape right there. Can we
This
zoom
one?
in? Can we zoom in for the audience? Because these aren't zooming in how I would like them to. Hello? Okay, see that's Weiss in her
Yes.
ponytail. That's
looks like I
her
don't-
mom.
Is that Winter?
I
But
think.
Winter was left.
But Winter
that
wasn't there, so
that her mom?
it's sort of like I'm pretty sure that's Willow.
Okay.
I'll bet you any money that's supposed to be Willow because it's like, I don't know why Winter, because like her whole thing in Volume 4 is searching for Winter, right? And so it's sort of like, I mean, obviously, again, people sort of mention the continuity problems, but it's sort of one of those things where I'm like that may be, I don't know, maybe she was in the helicopter all along. We only saw the side of the helicopter with Jocks and Weiss on it. Willow could have been right there for all we know, right? Again, it's not something that really bothers me. It would bother me if that's Winter, just because Weiss's thing is, oh, I'm gonna escape and find my sister, right? Like, and this is supposed to be in the parts that we didn't see of the time skip, so that's the only thing. And so Yang's recovering.
I also like that how it's at the home of Tai Yang, and Yang was recovering. It's like she doesn't want to talk about it. There's a distance there.
Yeah, I really like that too.
Oh boy.
The Olive Patch. Now, out of the broken teams, the survivors of Beacon made something new. Look at Tai Yang now, too.
Oh,
he just looks so...
okay.
Also, you know, people are like, well, Tai Yang didn't see them off, and I'm like, relax, okay? Like, you know what I mean? Because he didn't, right? She just ran away. But I don't think her running away is going to come up again. Like, relevant in the show. Like, she wrote a letter home, and she was sort of like, sorry I ran away from you. But she also sort of ran away from Yang, so it all still kind of fits anyway. Sean, Nora, Bren, and I need to find out who sent the White Fang to attack Beacon and why. But with my friends scattered and gone, what happens now? And so then you see Yang. No matter how bleak and dark and sightless the world becomes, we're still here. Life and beauty and color are still here. We'll come back. Okay, so you're right, Blake is on a tiny ship.
On a tiny boat.
She's on a very small boat.
Although I do love that shot of, although the tiny boat's kind of goofy and distracting, other than that, it is nice. I kind of like her.
Maybe there's more of the boat in the water.
Maybe there's
Does
more
that
of the
make
boat in the
sense?
water.
Like, I don't know if that's a
But
thing.
I do love the shot of Weiss and the shot of Yang.
Yeah, I really like, I mean, I like Blake all wrapped up too, because it is Beauty and the Beast vibes. Like, I don't know how much of Beauty and the Beast you remember, but when she's finding Maurice, she gets this thing, like this coat, and she's like going through the forest, and she's sort of like that. I really like Weiss just because it looks like her dress isn't blue anymore, but I think that that is her new dress. It's just sort of like, she's sad, so it's dark in there and sad, you know what I mean?
Also,
Sort
like
of
how she has one little big curl.
Like big, like ponytail. Because now, remember, Jacques made her like
Oh
center
no,
it.
I'm referring to
Oh, you mean
Blake's
Blake's?
one little curl.
I like Blake's one little
Although
curl.
I do like how her hair.
I think Nora's face looks a lot better in this one.
I love
you
how
can't see Ren and
dorky
John's.
cute
Tai Yang is just like, ah!
Oh,
I love that
watched
so much.
That Tai Yang
makes me so
should
happy.
be a meme. Look at that man.
I know. But yeah, I do like all the shots right there.
Ooh.
We'll go on, won't we?
We?
Question mark. And so I do like the shadows and then sort of them all together.
Like
and that's
the
it.
end.
We reached the end.
Okay.
So is there anything else we want to go back and discuss?
I'd say that I think the salient point for me is that you're right. This really much seems like
an introduction.
Yes.
And I sort of knew that, so that's why I wanted to sort of, you know, preface that, because I knew that that was something that was going to be present here. The continuity errors don't bug me. I think if people complain about them, I mean, complain about them if you want to, but it's just kind of nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, out of all the things, like, oh, Tai Yang didn't see them off, like, you just sound like a nerd. You know what I mean by the end? And like, obviously, I know all the stuff, too. Like, I have a pretty good memory of the show starting from Volume 4. We gotta rewatch Volume 1 to 3 again. At least I need to rewatch it, but it's sort of like, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal. They obviously changed some stuff just for the comic to sort of not get into, Crow brought me home. Oh yeah, Crow's my uncle. He's related to Raven. That's Yang's mom. Like, he didn't, you know, trying to not get in, like, they wanted to do something a little more contained, I think. And so they just didn't include certain pieces that would cause more, I don't want to say confusion, but yeah. Crow is my uncle. Raven is his sister. Like, it's already introducing a lot, you know what I mean?
Which makes me wonder if they reintroduce things like you're not a fan of RWBY, and you don't know what these things are, but also it operates in that you don't know what really happened, or they give you, I guess, a brief overlook of the first three seasons. So I wonder to what extent would they have been better off, like, remaking basically
everything as a comic.
Well,
they could do that. That could be something in the future that they end up doing. But I think it's sort of like, if I were a new RWBY fan now, Like, if I was someone that was getting into RWBY now, maybe I wouldn't watch volumes 1 to 3, and that may be a shame. But when you think about it,
do the
6th season seems very what am I trying to say? 6th season seems very intimidating.
I guess
for a new person to join, right? Like after an anime hits 3 seasons, I'm like, no. Like, you know what I mean? What show was that? Haiku or whatever, the basketball or volleyball, the volleyball anime. I was just like, it's already at 3 seasons. There's a 4th one. No, like that's sort of my cutoff with things that are sort of ongoing.
But then, like when you're into it.
Yeah, binging is half the fun. But I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if people want to start at volume 4 and then go back. Just so they know that they like it and they don't need to sort of waste their time. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Volume 4 is the best judge for whether everyone would like it and want to stick with it, but I think that there is a group of people that do that have started at Volume 4, and so this would sort of be a good starting point for people that just like reading comics and want to try this new thing, to sort of get into it, you know, read Volume 4, watch Volume 4, Volume 5, Volume 6, and then go, oh, well, the story started back there. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's so weird.
What do you imagine... okay, so how do you imagine it looking? Because it very much so is not...
Well, I saw it,
style.
right? And so, like, people probably imagine it, but we saw it at RTX, and I don't think we knew it was happening until RTX, or at least, like, we didn't know what was happening until RTX, so it's like, in that regard... I don't know how to explain it. It's just sort of not very surprising to me because we went to the panel and we saw the art and we saw things that nobody else got to see.
Enjoyed
and I personally don't really remember what we, you know what I mean? Like, it was just sort of extra art and like extra sort of stuff for us to see, but we couldn't take pictures of, but I don't remember exactly what those things were anymore.
I really enjoy the art. I like how it's very dramatic and it has a very sort of distinctive style.
Yeah.
And a lot more texture, I feel, than
actual RWBY, or at least
RWBY
volume
or
1 to
manga.
3 RWBY, yeah.
Yes. Even then, like, there's just the lighting on them. I mean, I guess you get that from a lot of the cell shading. How it is unique in that, like, you see it almost like a painted texture, or how Blake's shadows look almost like smoke or a burn. I really enjoy that. I'm curious to see, like, if this is kind of the model they're going off of, what the Genlock one will be like.
Well, okay, so Genlock, from what I remember at the panel, is gonna be a little different, because it's gonna, basically, like, one of the things they sort of talked about was exploring Kazu's backstory, and so I feel like they are going more, like, they're not doing an in-between, like they are with this. I think they're doing a current sort of thing, you know what I mean? Like, not necessarily going through the entirety of season 1 again, but it's more like this is entirely new canon material, and the Genlock one will have entirely new canon material too, but it'll just be, I don't know, it'll just be different from what I understand. So this is released physically, I think, October 29th. And so maybe we can expect one of these once a week until then, because that would make a full comic book? Is that how this works? Because this is issue 1, so would this be a full comic?
It would just be a very thin comic, potentially.
Or would you put all of them together and make a thick
like a
comic? Would that work? Yeah.
Potentially.
Because, I mean, there's going to be like 8 issues in between now and when it has a physical release, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, if it is one a week. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, okay? I don't know. I don't know the release schedule. I subscribed to it, whatever that means. Like, I bought this version and then I subscribed, and I guess that automatically may buy the next ones. I don't know. But I'm just sort of thinking, like, how the physical version is gonna look. Because why not, like, they're not gonna release this one issue physically. That seems kind of weird. Like, to be like, I don't know.
It would be very, very thin.
I don't know. It just seems like it would be super thin. I don't know. I don't know anything about comics, okay?
I haven't done a lot of,
if you need to publish a young adult book, I'm your girl. I have all the information right in here. But if you're talking about comics to me, I don't know anything. I feel like we should talk to my mom. I feel like I should call her and she should be our comic consultant, because she likes, you know, all this.
But even like normal comics, to my understanding, are longer than that, because that would probably only be like 10, 15 pages.
Yeah.
Or 15 pages.
And so, I don't know. We can see how many pages they are. Browse pages. Yeah, so it's 24 pages.
Yeah, but
You reached the end. Yeah, I know.
but
very sad
comic
about
books aren't like framed like that.
Yeah.
So I think some of those would be combined.
I think so.
together.
I think that would be the best thing to do, especially because this is a prelude, right? So this is chapter 0 in a sense. Like at least put 1 and 2 together.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I
to
don't
me.
think it'd be 24 pages. 24 pages. I don't know. What's the?
It's a normal comic book. Like we don't know. I'm sure they'll tell us.
I've read comic books, just not in a lot.
I
of
think
physical
that
formats.
we're good. They'll tell us. They'll give us the answers. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this is fun.
I had fun.
This is fair use. Don't sue us. I mean, Eruption Fang, I know he does these things where he shows just the pages and him talking over it, and he seems to be doing okay. Okay, so I think what we did is transformative. We discussed. We analyzed. This is not copyright infringement. Okay.
I don't think DC can find this.
I know. No, it's
You
just
don't.
like,
They have Batman too, so like you don't want Batman.
we don't want Batman. Oh dear. Okay. Bye, guys! Thank you for watching, and thank you to our wonderful patrons over on Patreon who support the channel. Their names will scroll through now.